Ollie Octopus twirled through the sunny reef, humming about borrowing Turtle Ted's shiny compass. Turtle Ted was snoring nearby, dreaming of kelp sandwiches. "He won't mind," Ollie whispered to himself. The compass felt heavier than expected, almost like it knew it was up to something. Bubbles popped around Ollie as he swam, pretending to be a pirate captain. "Arr, matey," he said to a passing shrimp, who blinked in confusion. Ollie waved his tentacle dramatically. The compass slipped a little in his grip, but Ollie didn't notice at all. A sudden current whooshed through the reef, spinning Ollie like a watery top. "Whee!" he giggled, enjoying the ride. Then he gasped. His tentacles were empty. The compass had vanished, swallowed by the reef's dark shadows, before he even had a chance to blink. Turtle Ted woke to find his lucky compass missing and his sandwich half gone. He called, "Ollie," while paddling over. Ollie's eyes widened. "Funny story?" "Well, not that funny," he admitted. Ted raised an eyebrow, already suspecting the rest of the story was worse. Turtle Ted frowned, but his voice stayed calm. "We'll have to look for it," he said firmly. Ollie nodded quickly, relieved Ted wasn't yelling. Still, he worried Ted's calm might hide a storm. He decided finding the compass fast was the safest plan for everyone. They swam toward the coral caves where lost treasures like to hide. "Last one there is a rotten clam," Ollie shouted cheerfully. Turtle Ted groaned. Speed was not his talent. Ollie zipped ahead, tentacles flicking, while Ted plodded along, imagining himself as the world's slowest race turtle. Finley the flying fish zipped down from above, nearly bumping Turtle Ted. "What's the rush, slowpokes?" Finley asked with a grin. "Lost something shiny?" Ollie blushed and tried to laugh. "Maybe," he mumbled, wishing shiny things came with alarms that screamed when they fell. Shelby the hermit crab waddled over, lugging her heavy shell behind her. "If it's in a cave, I'm your crab," she said proudly. "I can squeeze into spots you can't." Ollie brightened. "Perfect! You're like a living key for tiny treasure doors." The four friends gathered at the first cave, dark and echoing. "Hello, compass," Ollie called into the shadows. Only his own voice answered, sounding hungrier than he expected. "Maybe it's eating lunch," Finley joked, making Shelby snicker as they peered deeper into the gloom. Finley darted into the cave, but bumped his nose on a rock. "Ow! Rocks don't taste good," he complained, rubbing his snout. Ollie snorted with laughter. Shelby squeezed in behind him, claws clicking against the walls as she searched every corner for a glint of metal. Shelby's claws scraped along the cave wall. "No compass here, just grumpy crabs," she announced. One crab neighbor waved angrily from behind a rock. Turtle Ted sighed. Knowing this search might take all day, Ollie tried smiling, but guilt kept poking him like a sharp shell. They swam to the next cave, brighter with golden sunbeams streaming inside. Ollie peeked in and spotted a glitter. "There!" he cried, rushing forward, but it was only a shiny shell resting on the sand. His excitement fizzled like a bubble popping in the water. Finley grabbed the shell and spun it in his fins. "We could start a shell shop," he joked. "Buy one, get a pinch free." Shelby rolled her eyes, muttering about the terrible business plan. Ollie chuckled, grateful for the distraction from his growing worry. A playful eel slid past, tickling Ollie's tentacle. "Have you seen a compass?" Ollie asked hopefully. "Only if it tells me where lunch is," the eel replied. Ollie sighed, wondering if maybe the eel's lunch and Ted's compass had somehow joined forces underwater. The friends laughed as they swam toward a cave shaped like a giant mouth. Turtle Ted gulped. "Hope it doesn't chew us," he said nervously. Ollie grinned and wiggled his tentacles. "If it does, maybe it'll spit us out with the compass." Inside the mouth-shaped cave, Shelby found a pearl resting in a corner. "Wrong treasure," she said, tucking it into her shell for later. Ollie groaned, feeling guilt nibble at him harder than any crab could. Turtle Ted quietly kept searching without a word. Finley zipped ahead and called back, "Nothing here but sand and one confused starfish." The starfish waved all 5 arms politely, as if greeting each of them by name. Ollie waved back, hoping politeness might magically make the compass appear nearby. They rested near a rock ledge. Turtle Ted munched seaweed slowly before asking, "Why didn't you ask first, Ollie?" Ollie stared at his tentacles, twisting them together. He didn't have a funny answer this time. The question felt heavier than the compass had earlier. "I thought it'd be quick," Ollie said softly. "Guess it wasn't." Shelby patted his arm gently. "We'll find it. Then you can make it right," she said. Finley nodded, pretending to search the sky, though there was no sky underwater. A group swam to a narrow cave, its opening barely wide enough for a shell. "Looks like a squeeze," Finley said, peering in. Shelby grinned. "My specialty." She wriggled inside, her shell scraping slightly, sounding like a spoon stuck in a jar. Shelby popped back out with a crabby frown. "Just an old boot," she said, "and a snail who thinks it's a helmet." Ollie chuckled despite himself. "Maybe the compass is hiding from fashion disasters," he joked, earning a small smile from Turtle Ted. Next cave was deep and twisty, making shadows dance like seaweed. Turtle Ted led the way, slow but steady. "Compass or bust," he declared. Ollie followed, trying to ignore the echo of his own guilty thoughts bouncing off the cave walls. In the shadows, Ollie spotted another glimmer. "This is it," he shouted, swimming forward eagerly. Finley zoomed closer and inspected it but sighed. It was only a coin from a diver's pocket, resting in the sand like it had been bored for years. Shelby balanced the coin on her claw. "We're getting rich in everything but compasses," she joked. Turtle Ted managed a small smile at her humor. Ollie wished the compass would appear as easily as these random treasures seemed to appear everywhere. They swam past swaying kelp to a hidden cave behind it. Ollie brushed the kelp aside dramatically. "Ta-da!" he announced like a magician. Finley pretended to clap, but his fins made tiny splashes instead. Shelby peered inside, curious about what they might find next. Inside, a tiny sea turtle hatchling blinked up at them. "Lost something?" she asked in a small voice. Ollie nodded quickly. "A compass," he explained. The hatchling tilted her head, thinking. while Turtle Ted waited patiently, hoping for a useful clue to appear. The hatchling pointed toward a shelf of coral. "I saw something shiny there," she said helpfully. Everyone hurried over, splashing through the water. Ollie felt his heart beat faster, wondering if luck might finally be swimming their way after so many caves. On the coral shelf, hidden under a shell, was Turtle Ted's compass. Ollie's tentacles trembled as he lifted it carefully. The metal gleamed in the light. His relief was so strong, it almost made him float upward like a bubble escaping. "Found it!" Ollie cried, spinning in joy. Turtle Ted's eyes softened as he looked at it. "That's my lucky compass," he said quietly. Ollie grinned, trying to ignore the heavy memory of how he'd lost it in the first place. Ollie handed the compass to Turtle Ted. "I'm sorry I didn't ask," he said. "Won't happen again." Turtle Ted took it gently, nodding once. "Good," he replied, keeping his voice calm. Ollie felt like he'd finally taken a deep breath after hours. Finley clapped his fins enthusiastically. "Mission complete, and I didn't even crash into anything this time," he said proudly. Everyone laughed at the rare achievement. Even Shelby smiled, which Ollie knew meant the mood had officially turned lighter than before. Shelby tapped Ollie's tentacles softly. "You fixed your mistake yourself. That's what matters," she said. Ollie smiled, feeling the truth in her words. Fixing things was harder than finding shiny shells, but it felt better than keeping guilt tucked in his mind. Turtle Ted tucked the compass safely away in his shell. "From now on, just ask. I might say yes," he said. Ollie nodded eagerly. He liked the idea of being trusted again, even if it meant slowing down to ask first. They swam home together, joking about starting a lost and found cave tour. Ollie offered to be the guide. "Step right in. Bring your missing socks," he said. Finley laughed so hard he nearly flipped upside down in the water. As the reef glowed in sunset colors, Ollie felt lighter inside. He had learned that honesty means taking responsibility and making things right. The water shimmered around them, and Ollie promised himself that next time he'd ask before borrowing anything shiny.